Hello everyone, welcome to Lucky Loaders 15, and in this video I'll be giving you my each way lucky 15 tips for tomorrow's racing over in France at Saint-Cloud. I'll be getting stuck into those in a minute, but first of all I just want to apologise for not giving you any winners today. It was a tough day at Paris Longchamp, a lot of big price winners. We had 2 place legs, but a lot of the other horses that were very well fancied didn't deliver. That was Victor Ladorum and Sotas. Both of them I thought needed the run, so I called that right, but it was really hard to see what you would be taking them on with. There were a few people I saw had some big price winners, so well done if you did find some success at Paris Longchamp today, but for the vast majority of people it was a tough day. At Compiegne we did have one winner with Lou Bucks. We put it up at 4-1 yesterday. It went into favouritism, went off at 6-4, and it continued its very fine record under rules. That's Lou Bucks. Definitely put him in your tracker for Francois and Nicole. But away from that, we had a non-runner, and our other selections didn't really have anything to write home about, so it was kind of a disappointing day all round, but hopefully we can bounce back tomorrow and do better at Saint-Cloud. The other thing I will just mention is I just want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's checked out my podcast. If you're not aware of it, I run a racing podcast called In the Saddle. We interview lots of different guests. We've had John Joe O'Neill on recently, John Joe O'Neill Jr. that is, current conditional champion jockey. We've had Lee Mottershead on from the Racing Post. We've had racing commentator Simon Holt. We've had Dougie Costello on, Tyler Gaffleone. We've had lots of different people across the racing industry, and we've got lots more podcasts coming up. We're uploading another one tomorrow, so make sure you follow us on all our platforms, on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud and Podbean. There'll be links to them in the description box below. And we're also as well running a competition where you can win a free horse racing print of your choice. We've teamed up with graphic designer Ellen Kirby, who's very good at what she does, and you can pick any horse throughout the ages that takes your fancy for your racing print. You can have the likes of Frankel, you could have See the Stars, you could have Altior, you could have Forheen, you could have Red Rum, whoever you want. The only thing you've got to do to enter the competition is just to follow our Twitter account, which is in the Saddle Pod, at In the Saddle Pod. The link to it will be in the description box below as well, and all you got to do is like the pinned tweet which advertises the competition, and if you hit the like button you'll win. You have the chance to potentially win a horse racing print of your choice. But enough of me waffling on now. We'll get straight into the business end of things, what everybody is here for, and we go with our first selection tomorrow in our each way lucky 15 in the 1040 at Saint-Cloud with a horse called Cars. Now this horse is trained by Carlos Lafion Paris, and an apprentice jockey called Adrian Maru is put tomorrow, claiming a handy £6 off the horse's back. Now this horse is probably one of the best horses running in the race tomorrow. He's been competing in better company, and his last outperformance wasn't a bad effort really. And if you go back through his form as well, he's actually won on heavy ground at Longchamp, and the current conditions tomorrow are going to be testing. They're very soft as they're going at Saint-Cloud, and you're going to be wanting horses that can handle the conditions and probably got a bit of back class that could go well. He's not had too long off in between his races, even though there has been the lockdown in France. He was running earlier this year, so he'll be a lot fitter than some of his rivals tomorrow. He's around about a 3-1 chance, and I think he's got a fantastic chance of going close, and I would like to keep him on side in our opening selection. So that's that tip there. Our second leg then goes in the 1250, wide open handicap, but I'm going with a horse here called Saga Timgad. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, it'll be written in the description box below. Around about a 14-1 chance, and there's 5 places on offer with numerous bookmakers. Now this horse is trained by Mario Baratti and Christian De Muro, who's a very good rider to follow. Done me a few favours in France over the last few years, is but for the ride. Now this horse has been running quite well, finished third at Chantilly last time we saw him, and then if you go back through his form, he's actually a winner on heavy ground at Saint-Cloud. I think that was on his penultimate start before the lockdown, so he's got good form on the ground. He goes well at the track, and I just think tomorrow in a wide open race he could be one to keep on side. It's going to be a difficult day, but I just think he's definitely one that could go very well at price. We then go with my next selection, which runs in the 125, and I'm going with a horse here called Zaahir, trained by Adrien Fousset and Hugo Leboc. My French pronunciation is terrible, but please bear with me. It's but for the ride tomorrow, an apprentice jockey claiming a handy £6. Now this horse, I would actually go back and watch a replay if you can. You can watch him on Sky Sports Racing app or go on the At the Races website. They've got lots of French racing replays. But this horse finished in a blanket finish at Chantilly, even though it only says 8th place in the form book. He really did meet a lot of traffic there that day, and he was probably one of the best finishing horses home in the race. There's hardly anything to separate the majority of the field. So here, if he got more of a clearer passage, he could have won that race, I think, that day. And going on the turf on the soft ground shouldn't be a convenience for him. He won a lower class of French racecourse called Crayon. He won there on soft ground last year, so he can handle a bit of dig in the ground. And I just think tomorrow he's got a chance. He's got an each way chance. Again, you can get the 5 places with numerous bookmakers, and if you can get 16-1, I think he's a good each way bet. We then end in the 2 o'clock, a very good race here. Lots of top trainers represented, a lot of sexy horses. But I thought Enzel, you had to really give him a chance. He's 2-1, trained by Miguel des Anglais. Again, awful French pronunciation, but Christophe Soumillon, who is how you pronounce that, is but for the ride. Now this horse won by 20 lengths at Saint-Cloud last time out. He was a very impressive winner in the colours of the Aga Khan, and I think he's going to come even more forward from that run. Now this is obviously a better race than what he won last time, but he's got a lovely pedigree. He won in testing conditions that day, and if you actually go through his pedigree, he's related to a lot of stayers, and this is only going to be his second ever run over a mile and 2. He looks like he's bred for staying, and I think he won't get out battled through lack of stamina, so he should go very well in my opinion tomorrow. And if Christophe Soumillon can get him in a good position, I think Enzel could show potentially why he's different class to the rest of the field, even though there are some nice horses in it. So for me, that's going to be our final selection in our each way lucky 15 tomorrow, and hopefully we can have some winners at Saint-Cloud. So if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also as well, you can follow me on Twitter as well using my handle at LuckyLoads15. You can also check out my website as well, where there will be all links again to the podcast, which is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk, and I've got a podcast page on there, so go and check it out if you haven't done so already. Please gamble responsibly, and we'll be seeing you soon.